Good morning, Austin. We are back here for our daily show presented by BOA. My name is Dylan Bowman, joined today by Mike Genauer from La Sportiva. Mike, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dylan.
Provide a quick introduction of yourself. What's your role at the brand?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Mike Genauer. I am the Director of Product and Planning for La Sportiva North America, and I've been with La Sportiva for almost 12 years now.
You're based in Boulder, Colorado, right?
Based in Boulder, Colorado. Yeah.
Tell the audience about La Sportiva, the brand, because I think it's a story that's not understood well enough.
Yeah, so I've been with La Sportiva 12 years, but the brand's been around for 98 years, if I'm getting my math right. Maybe it's a little less than that, but since 1928, so figure that one out.
And, 95 years.
Yeah, 95 years. That's the number I was looking for. So been around since 1928. It's fourth generation, family owned. I think will always be family owned. It's just really amazing story around that. And we got our roots in mountaineering boots, and from mountaineering boots to hiking to approach and climbing and mountain running, we really have that know-it-all around the foot, but it all is inspired from mountaineering boots and kind of that know-it-all. If you've been in the Dolomites of Italy, where the company is based, you would see that like it all makes sense. Like it's super technical and rocky and rooty terrain, and from there it all makes sense why our shoes are the most technical ones on the market.
Why is it unique to be family owned? Because I'm just off the top of my head, isn't New Balance still family owned? No?
Not sure.
Are there any other brands that you can think of that are still sort of independent family owned?
I mean, I'm not 100%, but I'd probably say some of the newer startups that haven't gone like straight to the venture capitalists and angel backings. I think it's unique because it's more organic. It's a little bit slower growth and progress. You can't just like get all the money and expand so quickly. But you're not beholden to investors or anybody else. You get to really be unique about the products that you create. And you see that in La Sportiva's products. Like, we don't make something, I mean, it's nice to always make a volume driver, right?
Sure.
But that's not all of our products. A lot of the products are someone on the R&D team or an athlete came to them and said, I need this shoe, I need this product. Can you do that for me? Sure, we can make that. And it's a shoe that's out there for the masses, but it's very unique and it's very niche, and it's just like you have to have that product. So we're all about everything for someone, not something for everyone. That's really the root of La Sportiva.
So did you say director of product and planning?
Yeah,
what does that mean practically for you?
So because La Sportiva North America is a wholly owned subsidiary of La Sportiva Italy, we have a seat at the table. We're part of the R&D process, so we really collaborate with the Italian team and try and help. We influence products that are needed in the U.S. market, or help to make sure products in the global collection really meet the needs of everybody. So yeah, I'm curating the total collection within the U.S. from apparel, footwear, and ski hard goods. Color selections, or if there's a product that's not present in the global collection, then we try and push for a special makeup that would really fit the North American needs. Interesting.
So talk about the category more broadly. We just had Steve Doolin in here, the new president of Salomon. And one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot recently is just the flood of large brands into the space, which is both exciting, but also sort of comes with some growing pains. As a brand who's been in the space really since the beginning, and a person who's been at La Sportiva for 12 years, I'm sure you've also observed this massive influx of new brands. What does that mean for La Sportiva? Is the pie getting larger, or is competition really increasing and it's becoming harder to cut through?
I mean, from what I see, the pie is getting larger, right? There's more people coming into the trail running space. Looking at the market data, the total category typically is growing. There's more brands coming in. I mean, there's lots of new, smaller, nichier brands coming into the space. But from our side, La Sportiva's market share hasn't decreased. Certainly these big hitters. But I tend to see even some of the biggest brands still struggle in the trail component. They have great road shoes. They try and take that product and replicate it in the trail space. And it's like, well, that's not quite what the consumer's looking for. So I think there still is a lot of churn of product from those companies, and they're still trying to figure out the space. It's completely different than road running. But the pie's getting bigger from my perspective.
It's so true. It's something that our team talks about, and something we talked about with Steve too, is that it is difficult for brands who don't come from the trail DNA to come into the space and speak authentically to the consumer. Maybe you mentioned that La Sportiva was born in sort of mountaineering boots. What has trail running meant to the brand over time, and where does it sit in terms of the proportion of revenue, whatever you can share about its importance to the brand at this moment in time too, because it is obviously one of the fastest growing sports in the world?
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting with La Sportiva because we cover so many categories. From a specific category level, we might not be the market share leader, but when you put all those categories together, we're number 4 or 5 brand when you look against in the outdoor space specifically. But trail running is incredibly important. We're putting a lot of focus specifically into that category. And I think that we've always had that technicity. And for us, like the most important aspects are fit, which we know we've been doing shoes since 1928. Durability is incredibly important. That's high priority for us. We want your shoes to last for a long time and take you to all the places you want to go. And then traction. So we have our own proprietary rubber. So traction is really important for us. And those 3 things really define, the shoes that we're creating for consumers.
Talk about the rubber component too, because that's also novel for La Sportiva. Yeah. Most people will engage an outside provider like Vibram or Michelin or something like that. Why do you guys choose to use your own proprietary rubber? So
we certainly use ingredient brands like Vibram and BOA and others, Gore-Tex. But where we're market share leaders in climbing category, so climbing shoes, you need to have really tacky rubber. We certainly use Vibram on some shoes, and then we have our own friction rubber. And that friction rubber, which is highly sticky for those shoes, carries over into our mountain running line. And I think it's important to show that we know traction, and we have these dual compounds. Either it's durability is favored, or it's stickiness, so like high traction, or a mix of the two in key components on the shoes. So I think it's just another way that we're showing that like we know shoes, we know traction, and it comes from this crossover from other categories. Awesome.
So before we get to some of the products that you brought to show us here today, I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about something else that I've observed, and that is just that I see a lot more people wearing La Sportiva apparel. It feels like, just subjectively, as somebody who often just watches what people wear and what you see on people out on the trails, that it seems like you guys are making some headway there. Is that my imagination, or where does apparel sit in the overall sort of like picture of the brand at this point?
Yeah. Apparel is incredibly important for us. It's not going anywhere either. We've been creating great apparel for around 10 years for all categories. So mountaineering, trail running, hiking, climbing.
Ski mountaineering too?
Ski mountaineering, yep. Randonneur racing. So we kind of do it all. If there's a shoe or a ski boat, then we've got some climbing or apparel to match. I know even though we're in all black here today, pretty New York, I think what attracts a lot of people to our La Sportiva apparel is the aesthetic. It's a little brighter, it's flashier, it stands out. We've got great colors, and I think we have product specialists with the R&D team who really know the product. And so it's not just creating something for the sake of creating it. Again, it's like these are key pieces that can be part of your collection. And it's a super cold day, we've got something for you. If it's a warm day, you want to have a breathable shirt, we have that too that feels good next to skin.
Amazing. So you brought some products to show us here. I'd also love to, before we get to some of the new stuff, talk about BOA. Obviously, we've mentioned the brand a couple of times. They're great partners of ours, and I know you guys have worked with them for a long time. You're wearing a pair of bowed up shoes here right now. Why do you guys choose to use BOA, and what sort of benefit does it bring to the product?
Mm-hmm. It's just an incredibly unique system, and we started using BOA first in our mountaineering boots, and we realized it was just the ease of efficiency when you're high altitude, you're going up Everest and you need to, make a quick correction to your fit, like having that with big gloves on, you can do it. And it's trickled into other parts of our category. So trail running, we have a couple different shoes, the Cyclone with a single BOA, the Jackal 2 BOA with 2 BOA dials, and then our winter running shoe, the Cyclone Cross GTX with a single BOA. And I use all of them, and they're just amazing. Like for individuals who are like, I don't know, like a dial, like what is this? Like once you use it, you realize how nice it is to run uphill. You have one adjustment and then just quickly get to the top and make it tighter and just bomb downhill, and you're like perfectly in place how you want the fit to be. So yeah. I love it. And I'm also really lazy. So not having laces is like pretty sweet.
It's nice to not tie your shoes. So I was just scrolling through Instagram a few days ago, as I sometimes do, and came across a post from one of my personal heroes, Mr. Anton Krupicka, who's of course a longtime athlete for La Sportiva. And he mentioned a shoe that's coming down the pipeline right now that he called the best pure running shoe in La Sportiva history. You brought it to show our audience here today. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, super stoked. Really glad Tony's loving it so far. So this launches in spring 24. So we'll probably have it in the market around February, March to launch. And it is the ProDjo. This is brand new for La Sportiva. It's our first time introducing what some people are calling super shoes. So supercritical foam. It's a mix of EVA and nitrogen infused nitrogen. So you get that, and the EVA, or the midsole is lighter, it's more cushioned, and it's more responsive.
Amazing. Like you just mentioned with the apparel, the colorway is absolutely fire.
We do have a couple colorways here. So this is our brightest. I think pretty awesome, very fun. And then we have some more mainstream colors as well.
Is that the same shoe sitting on the table there?
Yep, and this is a women's colorway version. Slightly higher stack within our line, but it doesn't take away too much ground feel. So it's a 34 millimeter heel and 28 for a 6 millimeter drop. But the bathtub construction keeps your foot set lower in the shoe, so you still have really good ground sensitivity. And I think where we really set ourselves apart on this shoe is that you still have that midfoot wrap over the top of the shoe. So when you get higher off the ground, you really want to feel stable and connected still. And so you have that, something similar with a shoe like the Bushido or the Akasha. And it's a little bit wider platform, wider in the forefoot with a little more volume. So you're not, it's not that really narrow or fit that sometimes
you mentioned
people...
the rubber to me when we were on that showroom floor there. That's that proprietary friction rubber too, right?
Yep. This is friction red compound, which is really, we have our sticky rubber in the toe and then the more durable rubber in the heel. So sometimes you'll see these different color X's, and the friction, sticky rubber friction is white, and the more durable one is a blue, and you mix the white and the red together, or white and blue together, you get red. So
awesome.
Everyone knows that.
Cool. And then you were also telling us about a female-specific product that you guys are bringing to market. Sounds pretty exciting. Why don't you tell us about that before we wrap up?
Yeah, really excited about this. This is the Levante. This also launches in spring 24, and this was designed in conjunction with a few different females from around the world. At the show today and tomorrow, Silke Koster, and she was influential in this product. It's using the same supercritical EVA midsole, has our friction white outsole with really good lug pattern and grip, and then it's a little bit more svelte in the upper, so designed more similar to the Captiva, a little more race-oriented, performance-oriented, and the women that helped design the shoe, they took it from the beginning, kind of like working with a construction catalog with our R&D team in Italy, taking all the components of different shoes they really loved, and we put it into this shoe. And so far, through testing, they've all been really happy with performance. Silke was running in it for a 50K earlier this year, and she switched out of the shoe, and she's like, I regret having done that. She just stuck with it,
And is that coming to market spring 24 also?
Yep.
Cool.
January, February.
Awesome. Well, some exciting stuff coming down the pipeline. Maybe final question for you here. Obviously, we're here at TRE. What are your priorities here? What are the brand's priorities, and why do you come to this event?
come to this event because it's amazing to be with the running community. I've always just loved TRE over any other show because it's specific to running, and there's just such a great energy, and everyone's here, and it's just a lovely community, and to get up and run with, like-minded folks is really quite nice. And what we're really here for is to, get out brand awareness, let people know that we are a tried and true trail running company. And if you don't have our shoes in your store, then you're missing that perfect trail component.
Absolutely. Especially with the 100-year anniversary coming up. You got to plan something. 2028. Watch out. Well, Mike, thanks for coming on the show. Good luck with everything you guys have going on at La Sportiva, and appreciate your insights.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me over here.